Hello, hello, hello again. Hello again. Um, I'm starting to try to get back into this, so bear with me with me trying to get better at this. Um, a thing I was thinking about, and actually has to do with these vlogs, is the difficulty that we have as human beings in following our true inner self, I would say. Um, when, yeah, trying to follow what our true inner self all calls for us to do. And what I find so difficult about that is not necessary. What I find difficult about that is that we also have to contend with our desires. And a lot of these desires can be unconscious. So let's just take, for example, food, shelter, our connection, community. These things, or not even these things, but these might be just necessities of living. So desires, as in the desire to want to do something that is contrary to what is deep inside you. So, example would be a wanting to interact with people, get better at interacting with people. Whenever your true calling isn't something that deals with people every day, or not every day, but every moment. So, not necessarily the introvert and extrovert, but more of the idea of, hey, if you oh, are naturally inclined to work with numbers and really get into mathematical equations and solving proofs and understanding how they're doing, but you yourself are disappointed or cling to the idea, attached yourself to the idea that you need to be better at socializing, or is that this is a specific skill, all that you uh, want to revolve yourself around. It's a conflict of interest within yourself as well. And I find that we have a lot of these between in people, is that your unconscious desires are quite different than what your conscious desires are. Because us as conscious beings, at least from my life and what I've seen, have a really hard time uncovering what is underneath and what is unconscious, and actually picking apart why we do the things that we do. We see this with a lot with emotions and how we react. A lot of times people uh, know they need to act a certain way, but then whenever they get into action and whenever they get into conversations and when they get to interactions with people, they revert back to what they unconsciously do. Because in the conversation, you're not consciously thinking about what you're saying and doing every single moment. And that would be too much control. You kind of tend to fall back on your unconscious behaviors. And if you're not reflecting afterwards about these unconscious behaviors of what you're doing, how you're acting, and how things are influencing you. Also, in the moment, allowing yourself space and time between decisions and actions to be able to reflect and not reflect, but give your best conscious action. If you're not doing these things, then your unconscious can kind of overrun you a little bit. And I think that's another thing that we have to contend with is I'm trying to I think through this problem. So that's why I'm going a little in circles. So one thing, whenever we're trying to uncover or what would fulfill us, fulfill ourselves, this person, and the best in our life. One thing is our conscious desires. Just what do we want? What do we want consciously? Another thing is our unconscious emotions, the things that we say Freudian, right? Where the psychoanalysts have delve into. So the things that are unconscious in us that in our childhood we've had experiences, maybe even traumas that have shaped our how we unconsciously behave today, and that's another source of trying to that influences is what we should be doing in the moment, and or like let me rephrase that, and might be influencing how we the things that we decide to do in the moment, and that might not necessarily lead us to fulfilling and just fulfilling actions, endeavors. So we got your conscious desires. What do you want in the moment? And that might be even cravings, right? I have chocolate. You just want to be lazy. Want your habits. That's right. At the second is these unconscious desires, are of form from your childhood, from your upbringing, maybe from some of your genetics. But I'm thinking, and I don't know for sure, I want to do more literature on this, but I think there's another level to it. I think there's your conscious desires, your or these unconscious sways, persuasions, but I also think there's what Lao Tzu would say is like an inner meaning, not necessarily a meaning for your life, but a meaning for your moment right now, what you should be doing, how you should be not presenting yourself, but what path you should be pursuing at this moment in life. And I think, and this is can be a little bit, maybe it influences the conscious desire, and the unconscious desires can influence this a little bit, but I think it's more of a separate entity in itself. And I don't really know, um, at least me in my life, how to best distinguish between these, especially the unconscious um, sways and desires, as from this inner core of your true meaning and but true fulfillment at the moment. At the moment is key, right? There's not a I wouldn't I would sway anyone from using the words of meaning in our lives, because our lives are long, we change, we're different people, and our meaning might change throughout our definitely throughout our lives, but also throughout our weeks, our months, our years, and we always have to reflect and be vigilant on that. Um, but one thing that I'm struggling with right now is figuring out um, what would best be fulfilling to my life's